fantasy manga are so back. In recent years, there has been a bit of a revival of the fantasy genre, and I'm talking more classical fantasy, dragons, knights, and witches. And sitting at the top of this genre right now are some incredible manga, them being Frieren, which blew up in 2023 with the release of the anime, and the very next year, Dungeon Meshi caught viewers' attentions with its anime as well. But today, we won't be talking about either of these, which I'm sure you guessed from the title of the video, but another that in my opinion was just a little bit better than the other two, and that is Witch Hat Atelier by Kamamo Shirahama. So a little backstory on why I read this manga. Well, I wanted to get back into fantasy, and I decided to read the three that I heard were the most popular, and that is the three that I have mentioned. I expected my ranking to be something like this, but after reading all three, my ranking became this. Now I will say I read half of Frieren and didn't enjoy it as much as the other two, but I do intend to read the rest in the future. Witch Hat Atelier shocked me, from the beautiful art to the amazing characters, and as I got up to date with the current chapters, it had worked its way well into my top 10. I seriously love everything about this manga and cannot wait for more chapters to build up. Now, in this video I will be detailing the basics of the story and all of chapter 1, then I will talk about the world building and characters, and then the art. If you want to avoid spoilers, you should click off now and go read this beautiful manga, but if you are fine with spoilers or have already read this story, then enjoy the video. Quickly before I start, I usually crop all my manga images to make them neat and to take away the large blank spaces outside of the panels, but because of how unique this manga's paneling is, I won't be doing it for this video. As you can see, cropping images from this manga actually takes away from how amazing the art is. Okay, let's start now. Are athletes from the moment they're born? What about astronauts or idols? These things aren't decided at birth, so then what about witches? This is one of my favourite first panels in manga, as it sets up the themes of Witch Hat Atelier brilliantly. Now we see this beautiful double spread introducing us to the first chapter. We see a young girl smile at some kind of animal. It looks like a mix between a dog and a deer, and she begins washing clothes. She apologises for the mess and tells the animal that the water will return to normal soon because magic runs through it. The girl dries the clothes and looks back at the creature as it drinks the now safe water. Magic flows through the world, making life plentiful, an indispensable, convenient miracle, but the girl doesn't know how magic works. Only witches do, and ordinary people cannot become witches. The young girl thinks it must be nice to be born a witch. The sheets begin moving from a sudden gust and the girl sees something in the sky. It's a winged chariot, and the girl joyfully follows it as it lands in her village. She quickly runs to go see and tell her mum there's a winged chariot. She opens the door to see her mum and bumps into an unfamiliar man. The girl apologises and the man smiles, telling her it's alright, and he apologises for standing in front of the door. Women from the winged chariot are looking at various fabrics the girl's family sells, and she thinks the man came with them, but he tells her he's not with them. A woman calls out to the girl's mum and asks if she has any more lace, and we learn the girl's name, Coco, as her mother tells her to give her a hand. Her mum asks the man what he needs, and he asks for a smoke-coloured cloth, but says he can come back later. Coco replies that she can handle the measurements. Coco asks to see the winged chariot when she's done, and her mother reluctantly agrees. She quickly and diligently works on the cloth. The man begins to watch her closely and praises her for her concentration and precision, saying this is magic. Coco becomes flustered by the compliment and says this is totally different from magic. Magic is more mysterious, sparkly, and precious. The man asks her to tell him why she likes magic so much. She begins recounting a time when her mum took her to a fair in the castle. She brought a thin book from a witch. The mysterious witch offers her a magic book and tells her that magic is the miracle that colours the world. The winged chariot soaring through the heavens, the fresh waters of the spring of eternity, and the light on the pavestones at your feet is all magic. Coco finds this all amazing and buys the book. Coco is excited and tells her mother she's going to become a witch that uses magic to colour the world. Her mother then tells her she can't. People don't become witches, they're born that way. Normal people can't be witches. But look, the ground lights up where I walk, Coco replies, not understanding that magic is lighting the path. Her mum tells her that if the ground keeps lighting up all the way home, then maybe she can use magic as well. And as they cross the path towards the village, her steps no longer light the floor she treads. Coco says she couldn't completely give up on learning magic. The man is puzzled by a witch selling a book and asks if she could tell him more about that book, but they get interrupted by a loud noise outside. The chariot looks damaged as people rush out to look. 2 boys accidentally broke it. The women then come outside and are upset at what happened to the chariot. The kids and the mother apologise, but the women aren't happy. Shall I fix it? The man interjects. The woman asks just who the man is. He He apologizes and says he's forgot his trademark cap, and Coco realizes what he is, and the man introduces himself as Keyfree the Witch. He says he has to cast the magic spell on the floor of the carriage and wants to do it indoors instead of outside. Coco quickly offers up their shop, and Coco begs her mum to let him borrow the store. Coco begins to imagine what his magic might look like and becomes extremely excited. Keyfree then calls Coco over and thanks her for lending him their place and asks her for one more favour, and Coco becomes even more excited. She has to guard the door so that no one peeks in when he's using magic, and Coco is miserable and questions why she isn't even allowed to watch. Coco finds it weird that you're not allowed to see when magic is being cast. She then notices the boys from earlier sneaking past her. She yells at them asking what they're doing. They tell her they're going up to the skylight to see if they can see when the magic's being cast, and Coco follows them, wanting to see as well. They make it up but notice that there are curtains blocking their view. A noise startles Coco and she notices a hatch open on the roof. She climbs down and knows that she shouldn't be looking, but she just can't help herself. Keyfree is drawing and Coco watches on as he draws various symbols. She notices that he isn't drawing magic from somewhere, he is drawing magic, and we see Keyfree pleased with his work. Keyfree thanks Coco for her hard work and she's visibly tired from racing down the roof. We see the chariot take off without any issue and Coco's mum wonders why she doesn't look excited to see the chariot. Keyfree then comes up to speak with Coco, who quickly hands him the bags and fabric before hiding behind her mother. He wanted to ask her more about the book, but he decides to leave and bids them farewell before leaving the village. Coco's mum sighs, and Coco asks why she sighed, and she says that she thought Coco would want to leave with the witch, and how she would struggle if she left after her husband died. Coco tells her she wouldn't leave her. Coco's mum thanks her. Later that night, Coco prepares to try and draw magic, like Keyfree did, using the mysterious book and the pen the witch from the castle gave her. She begins drawing, mimicking shapes and patterns she can see in the book. And it works. She creates magic and is amazed that she is now capable of creating magic. She can't contain her joy and excitedly bounces around the room before beginning to draw again. We cut to Keyfree, who was laying down next to a fire created by one of his drawings. He's thinking about the picture book Coco told him about before he realizes something and shoots up with a serious expression. We cut back to Coco, who now has a bunch of different symbols laid out before her. She slowly understands the different symbols and how the bigger they are, the more powerful, and the neater the drawing, the longer the magic lasts. She continues drawing and uses the light to neatly trace over the symbols from the book, and becomes completely absorbed in her work. After she's finished, she wonders what kind of magic it will be, as we see hands reaching towards her. It's Keyfree, who quickly pulls Coco from her chair as the magic symbol erupts with light. He dashes with Coco away from the desk. He leaps from the roof and connects his feet together, completing a symbol on the soles of his shoes, and the magic propels him upwards while he carries Coco. Keyfree grabs her and asks her what kind of magic she drew, but Coco has no idea. She was just copying the patterns in the book. Keyfree asks her if the book is still in the house, and we see Coco's mother looking for her. She sees Coco in the sky and takes a step forward, and crystals form around her foot. An explosion of crystals form around her, and Coco and Keyfree can only watch on. Coco's mother becomes a crystal and is frozen in her last moment. Coco is sorry, she didn't know this would happen. Keyfree says of course she didn't, but this is why witches hide their magic, so that things like this don't happen. Keyfree tells her that the special ink and the magic glyphs, anyone with the knowledge can wield magic, revealing that magic isn't something people are born with, it's something anyone can do. And witches must keep that secret so chaos doesn't ensue. He then says that she knows too much and Coco must have her memories erased. Coco kicks at Keyfree, not wanting her memories erased. Keyfree says that if he can figure out what glyph was there, he might be able to reverse what happened to her mother. Coco says she can tell him everything that was in that picture book. Keyfree worries that the book is one of theirs, and worries that if he erases Coco's memory, then he will lose his only lead. Coco says that if he found the same book, she would be able to show him which glyph it was and save her mum. Coco begs Keyfree not to erase her memories, and that she will find that book and save her mum. Keyfree asks if she will protect the secret. Of course she says. He tells her that she will have to learn. If he can't erase the truth from her, then she has to become someone who keeps the secret. He sees this as the best choice without erasing her memories. He then tells Coco that she's on her way to becoming a witch. That concludes chapter 1, and I was hooked instantly. From the art, characters, and the reveal of how magic works, I just had to continue reading. This was one of my favourite first chapters ever. Now in the next 2 parts, I will be talking about the characters and world building as well as the art, so if you don't want any more spoilers and want to go read this manga for yourself, you should click off the video now, but if not, then let's continue. Witch Hat Atelier has a phenomenal cast of characters. It's one of the few manga where I enjoyed every character's contribution to the plot. I didn't have a character like Matamachi from Vagabond, who for me at least just felt like they were stealing time away from the main characters and plot. Witch Hat Atelier doesn't have this problem at all, with each character providing their own worth to the story and act as their own individuals. The side characters don't feel like they are introduced for the sole reason of supporting the main characters. They feel real to the world, like they are a collective of experiences and skills are what make them necessary to the main cast, and even at times have me wondering what they are doing when we don't see them in an arc. Now, I've struggled to decide how deep I should dive into the characters, and I honestly think it would be better to save a deep dive for a future video, maybe for when the first season of the anime finishes, but I will talk briefly about my favourite character in the series, and will be the fan favourite when the anime comes out, and that's Keyfree. During my read, Keyfree quickly became my favourite mentor/teacher character in all of anime and manga. His care for his students was extremely enjoyable and wholesome to watch, and the author put such a phenomenal amount of detail into how he speaks and interacts with his students. One of my favourite moments is when he tries to convince Richie, another one of his students, to take the second test, which is one of many main tests students must complete to become a full-fledged witch. Richie, however, doesn't want to, and she is a character who doesn't do anything they don't want to. She picked Keyfree to be her mentor because he told her he would never try to change the way she approaches magic. There's more to it, but I won't spoil it. Richie becomes upset, believing that Keyfree doesn't actually care about what she wants, as she doesn't want to take the test. Keyfree tells her that he's not making her take the test because he doesn't care, it's because he does, and he tells her that right now she might not want to take the test, but one day she will be glad that she did. "Would you believe in me for today?" he asks. Richie agrees to take the test. Throughout the manga you notice scenes like this with Keyfree that contrast the other witches. Even in this very chapter, another witch belittles one of his students, which agitates Keyfree. And in this scene with Richie, we can see at the start of the conversation, Keyfree was standing, and as it went on, he knelt, actually getting his eye level lower than Richie's. I know it might be me overanalyzing things, but the amount of respect he gives his students was always something I enjoyed reading. Throughout the manga, he gives all of his students equal respect and tutelage. He is soft when he needs to be and firm when the moment calls for it. He successfully switches tactics on teaching, tailor-making it to each and to get the best out of them, and this could only be achieved by the amount of time and care he gives his students. He is also fiercely defensive of his students, often putting himself in harm's way to protect them. Overall, he is an amazing character. Keyfree also isn't one-dimensional. He isn't simply their teacher. He also has individual goals and motivations that push him to commit questionable acts and make decisions between the good of his students and the pursuit of his goals. But yet again, I won't be spoiling that aspect of his character. Now the world building, and it's lovely. It doesn't break away from the mold too much and presents a nice and unique world that suits the story very, very well. The wildlife is very cool and unique, with many different creatures that are similar to our world but with slight changes that make them a bit more fantastical. One of my favourites we see is the scaled wolf. We also have some hallmark fantasy creatures like dragons, and I love their designs. I loved learning about all the different aspects of the world, especially learning about the magic world that the general public isn't aware of. That's actually one of the reasons I love Coco as the main character, as like Coco, we are learning about this world alongside her. I love learning about the Knights Moralis, who are basically the military force of witches, and erase people's memories if they see something they shouldn't, and apprehend witches that break the rules or use forbidden magic. I also like learning about the Brimmed Cap Witches, who are the antagonists of the story, and slowly learning about their motives in the world and why they do the things they do. Each arc presents a new topic or area to learn about, whether it's the Great Hall, which is the main hub area for witches, or the Silver Eve, which is a 4-day festival where witches from across the country journey to show their best magic and their new breakthroughs they have made. There is so much to see in this series, and spoiling any more would just take away from your experience, so please go and try this manga after you're finished with the rest of this video. Now onto the art. The art in general is a 10 out of 10. It's absolutely gorgeous from chapter 1 and never once lets up. Whether it's amazing double spreads showcasing the landscapes or fight scenes, regardless of the type of scene, the art is detailed and beautiful. Character design is amazing, with a wide variety of different characters that have unique clothing to their status, background, and profession. The art is a genuine marvel that will quickly fill up your camera roll. But the paneling is on another level completely. Witch Hat Atelier has the best paneling in all of manga, and I really don't think it's a debate. There is a phenomenal video by Lines in Motion that goes over the paneling in better detail than I could, so I will link that video in the description for anyone who is interested. The panels themselves will occasionally interact with the scene, like I showed in chapter 1 with Keyfree leaning on the panel itself, or in this scene where his clothing is interacting with the panel below. It adds a nice and playful touch to the pages they are in. Important panels will have borders to them, and different images that will add to the scene, or even structures in the panel being over the top of the outlines, giving them a more 3D perspective. Items will reach over the lines as well. The shapes of the panels themselves become personifications of the items used in certain scenes, like in this scene when one of the characters is trying to create some sort of medical concoction. I just can't recall any manga I've read that plays around with the panels as much as Witch Hat Atelier, and every time it adds to the scenes and never once does it feel like it's cluttering the images or gets in the way of what it's trying to convey and what is happening. It's honestly a marvel to see. As you can tell, I adore this series, and in my opinion, it's the best ongoing fantasy series. I really hope the anime brings more people to the manga because it's something I think everyone should read. It's a 10 out of 10 for me, and I really don't see that changing anytime soon. I hope that in this video I've convinced some of you to try this masterpiece. Well, that's it from me. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye!